The Doublemint Twins in Deanwood, DC. You'll certainly double your freshness with this meticulously crafted new build located here in beautiful Deanwood. Now, you'll sit among other detached and semi-detached homes. You'll be one block north of Meade Street, which also is home to Run Brown Preparatory High School. Now, one thing that I've learned about living and serving people who are relocating to Washington, D.C. is that you'll need to take some time to understand the school systems. You'll have D.C. public schools, charter schools, which are also a type of public school, KIPP schools, and of course, you'll have private schools. Now, there's always a local misconception that I was actually recently made aware of, or that the further west you go in DC, the better the education, which kind of runs on par with the perception or the reality of home values in DC proper. Now, along with more amenities west of the river. The truth is that learning how the schools work will help you feel more comfortable, whether it's DC public schools or anyplace else. Now, DC Public Schools does a great job of providing a report card on school programs and facilities in each of their schools, like community partnerships, along with specific programs for the students around academic enrichment, wellness and fitness, and art and culture. So it's important to do that research. There's also usually a community center or library that's within walking distance in most communities that I found. This home is closely positioned to the Deanwood Aquatic Center that has an indoor slide, has a separate children's pool, and is located within the Deanwood Recreation Center. It's become an amazing community resource right in your own backyard. And speaking of backyards, you'll see that this home has its own private parking space and plenty of space for your own personal recreation on the property. Now, closely centered to this property is the Marvin Gaye Park, which is an amazing gym and tribute. Not only is this a great playground with themed equipment, now the equipment is entirely enclosed playground equipment, and it's themed with musical instruments and notes and guitars that play notes in honor of Marvin Gaye. Plus, not far from this home you'll find the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens, which offer beautiful tours. And during the summer months, you have the Lotus and Water Lily Festival, which is a huge summer treat. Now, the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens includes performances and classes and ranger programming and so much more. You'll also find that DC traffic is interesting, and the first thing I like to advise you to consider is that DC was designed as more of a defensive city, and so it was poorly designed for city or consumer living. So as a result, there's typically just a handful of ways to get to any particular place in DC. Now, DC has a few main arteries to know, and there's a trick that I've found about the street configuration that's important. And here's what helps me to remember where I am and how different streets line up. Now, keep in mind that the direction, northeast, southeast, etc. matters. The DC streets run in three ways: east-west, north-south, and diagonally. Lettered streets run east-west, numbered streets run north-south, and diagonal streets have state names. Now, I should have started by saying that Deanwood is located in the northeast edge of the city. It is really one of Washington, D.C.'s oldest communities, and it's consistently been one of its most diverse African-American communities. It was originally established in 1833 when the previously white landowner and enslaver Levi Sheriff purchased several hundred acres in the area. And then you found it by 1920s that it was home to the Suburban Gardens, which is the only permanent amusement park ever to be housed within the city limits of DC. Now, many of the Deanwood families you will find have lived in that community for generations, which makes it both a stable and close-knit community. Now, you'll also find that the history there includes the National Training School for Women and Girls, which was founded in Deanwood by activist Nannie Helen Burroughs in 1909. Now, the richness of the community also extends to the architecture through one of the residents, like Sidney Pittman. Now, Mr. Pittman designed several notable buildings that are still in Deanwood today. That includes the Zion Baptist Church and the Deanwood Chess House. In general, it's important to take into consideration when moving values in the area. So when you move to this community, I want to just dive into what some of the data is showing us. Currently, we have about 5.43 months of supply of inventory in the housing market, and we've seen in this area an increase of over almost 56% in the last 12 months, which means that there are more homes available for you as a consumer moving to the area to choose from. This also shows that the median sold price in the area is about $530,000. And that gives you an idea of what the average home is selling for on the market right now. Essentially, this number begins to spell out basic or intrinsic value, as there are, of course, homes valued above and below that median number. And we even see that this home has been masterfully renovated with a mature buyer in mind that is going to cascade this home in memories. So, is this a home you can see yourself living in? Comment below.